Hi, everyone. I'm Kat Galliano. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the social media manager and your AMA facilitator, joining you from Westchester, New York on the traditional and contemporary lands of the C1Y people. A reminder to join in with no hate, no harm, and no harassment of any kind. This is a place to learn and to listen to one another and to create and engage respectfully. We normally host these office hours from time to time to answer questions about programs and workshops. But right now, we are in a special time because our scholarship application window is open. We had a great session on Tuesday to celebrate and answer questions, but we didn't get to all of them. And we wanted to make sure people who couldn't attend Tuesday would have a chance to ask questions as well. If you didn't get a chance to come on Tuesday, we'll drop the link to the recording in the chat because there's a ton of information there too. But please feel free to put your questions in the Q&A section of this webinar, and we'll do our best to get to them all. We are joined by our wonderful program director, Alison Green Myers, here, who will try to answer as many questions as possible. Hi, Alison. I am so happy to be here.
Hi, Kat. Yes, I'm excited to be here too. Thank you for asking me to do another Ask Me Anything. As Kat said, I'm Alison Green Myers. My pronouns are she, her. I am the program director here at the Highlights Foundation, and I'm calling in today from northeastern Pennsylvania on the traditional and contemporary lands of the Lenape people. Kat, before we get to some of the questions I know that you have for me, there was one question that came in Tuesday night that we didn't get to respond to, and I really especially wanted to make sure that we covered it today right from the start. There was a question in the Q&A from someone who asked, is the term women trans inclusive for the scholarships you're talking about? And I just wanted to very clearly state that in every case at the Highlights Foundation, women is trans inclusive. Yes, it is inclusive of trans women and anyone who identifies with the term women or on the femme spectrum in our scholarships, in all places, in all spaces at the Highlights Foundation, everywhere. Trans women are women always. And while we're on that subject, I think, one of the most important things we can do right now as we're seeking ways to protect trans kids is make sure that trans adults have access and support and amplification of their voices, and stories do that. So the answer to the question in the chat from Tuesday night is a resounding yes. And I wanted to make sure that we covered that before we got into any questions, other questions that I may have missed from Tuesday night. So thank you.
Thank you, Allison, for clarifying that. And thank you to the person that asked, because it's very important to ask and for us to give an answer to that. So we're going to jump right into the questions that we received. Is there a time frame for scholarship use or an expiration date?
Yeah, it's a great question. Right now in the press release, and I think I saw one of the links that got dropped, Christina dropped the link from the recording on Tuesday night. There's also a link we'll drop in there that has the press release about the scholarships. One of the items on there is that, yes, we're calling this our 2022 scholarship window, but in the press release, it says it's really to be meant to use toward any 2022 or any 2023 course of your choosing. But on Tuesday night, we were asked the same question, and George's response, so he gave that response, George Brown, our executive director, he said 2022 or 2023. And then he said, because this is a very Highlights Foundation thing to say, he said, but of course, if something comes up, the whole change to this process is that we want to invest in the storyteller. So if something in your world or in the greater world comes up and for some reason you're not able to use that scholarship in 2022 or 2023, we need you to reach out to us, and then we would like to honor that as well. So it is meant to be used in 2022, 2023, but we hope that there's no expiration to our support with the scholarships.
Which means apply, everyone, apply. Please apply. This next question actually came to me on Twitter. Can Canadians or people from other countries apply for the scholarships?
Yes, definitely. That one of the things I mean, I think prior to March 2020, we had a smaller number, but still some international um, writers and illustrators coming to the retreat center. But wow, as we've grown in our online education, we have seen just really a global outreach to the programs. And so, yes, our Highlights Foundation, family extends across the globe. I would say everyone is welcome to apply for the scholarships. Everyone is welcome to take the courses. Two main things to think about. One is that if you are applying for an in-person scholarship, for the most part, the scholarships do not include transportation. So that's something to consider if you're planning on traveling to the retreat center with some travel costs. And then the other thing I would say is with online classes, this isn't just, I think, internationally necessarily, but as we're looking at your time commitments and time zone, the course that you might be interested in, the timing might not allow for you to attend live to all of the sessions, but everything online is recorded so that you would have access to that as well. And of course, if you had a one-to-one with a faculty member or a small group meeting, we would do our best to be accommodating to your needs in your time zone, which we have for other courses.
Our next question is, if you apply to the general scholarship, could the panelists select the scholarship they think they qualify for?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I would say we had so many questions on Tuesday night session. And the more than anything, the question was, can I apply for more than one scholarship? So the way that the scholarship is set up, I see Christina also dropped the link to the scholarships. The way that the scholarship application is set up, when you go in, it's a checklist, and you can check off any of the scholarships that you feel match who you are as a creative, and so you can check those off. However, yes, if you applied for a general scholarship and the scholarship committee, after thoughtful review of your application, really felt like you were a great match for a certain named scholarship, you could also qualify for that as well. And the committee would have the discretion to do that.
Our next question is, if we want to write a novel, is there a scholarship for that as well?
That's a great question. There are several scholarships that are for novelists, because there are just several scholarships in general that you could apply toward so many of our workshops that have to do with novelists. Now, the question might be asking something a little bit more. It could be asking about whole novel scholarships, and that's different, of course. So we have lots of novel courses where you might come in because you're in the drafting phase or the ideation phase. You're in a revision state where you don't quite yet have what you consider your finished draft, right? If you have a finished draft, you could also be eligible for applying to our whole novel workshop. Our whole novel workshop is just as it sounds. You have to have a whole novel finished, and then you receive feedback questions to help you grow in your next round of revision. That's a different application and scholarship base, and that's rolled out just with the whole novel courses. There is a whole novel course listed on the website right now. It's our online whole novel, and that's for the whole novel course in historical fiction. There are two then general whole novel courses that take place at the retreat center in 2022, and you would apply separately for those scholarships. But just as a novelist, definitely check off the scholarships that, match your needs. List, that you're a novelist. If your sample has to do with, the opening chapter in your the novel that you're working on, or an idea, a pitch that of the novel you want to work on, absolutely scholarships for that.
Um, uh, we did get another question actually in our Q&A box that I wanted to ask.
Okay.
There's a scholarship for unpublished writers. What exactly does unpublished mean? Is it unpublished in the children lit space or unpublished in any genre?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So in this case, it would be unpublished in the children's lit space. We definitely know that people will come to us having some background in other writing. Perhaps they've written a cookbook, or they wrote, an adult mystery, but they're just starting out in writing for children and teens. And that's really what we're looking at in our workshops that has to do with children's and teens work.
Our next question is, will highlights consider mentorships for writer? To me, that is a very useful resource.
Ooh, I like that question because I wholeheartedly agree. You've probably read my post I did for highlights a while back on needing a creative mentor. I think you're absolutely right. That is a very useful resource. Most of our workshops have some element of mentorship. And then, of course, we have our partnerships, which have a larger, longer component of mentorship. But we don't offer a pairing with a mentor outside of signing up for a course. So for instance, let's say you're just starting out and you sign up for the crash course in publishing. You take the course, and then following the course, you're paired one-to-one with a mentor to go over your goals, to go over maybe let's say you're working on your picture book project. Let's say mentorship at the whole novel includes, you have these peer groups where you're talking about concerns you have in your revision. You also have a faculty reader where you're meeting one-to-one and you're getting written and verbal feedback of your work. But we don't have them as standalone. We wouldn't say, oh, this person has taught for us before, this would be a good fit for you. It's always connected to a workshop. And I know that, or I think that Rona Shirdan is here. Rona is our program ambassador who can really answer so many questions. Like if you came and said, this is the level of mentorship I need. I need someone to talk to me about my whole novel, or I need a course that's over the next 6 months because I just need to finish this novel, and I want somebody checking in with me all along the way. Rona would be able to connect you to the course that does that. If you went to Rona and said, actually, all I want is someone to take a look at my picture book, and I'm willing to take a short class in order to make that happen. We have our mini webinar style classes, and Rona could connect you with something like that. So again, I should probably rein in my excited responses to everything, but I believe in mentorship too, to whomever asked this question. I agree it's a very useful resource. We try and combine it in as many of our courses as possible, but part of our mentorship program is that you're taking a course along with that mentorship.
Rona just dropped in a comment and said she's very happy to speak with anyone who would like to discuss workshops to see which ones might be a good fit for you. So please just reach out to her. She will give you a call and you can speak one-on-one and sort of air whatever questions you have. We did get another question in the Q&A box. It says, if we do check multiple scholarship boxes, does this hurt our chances? I'm wondering if it's best to ask for a general award.
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you have an opportunity to listen to the conversation on Tuesday night, we really go into detail about the 3 criteria that are part of the scholarship review. And I should note here, the scholarship review is done by a committee outside our staff. So our staff isn't making the decisions of applications that come in. We have a wonderful group of, dedicated faculty and friends of the Highlights Foundation that put forth the effort to review multiple times the applications that come in. And they review based on 3 criteria. The first one is talent. The second is seriousness of purpose. And the third is financial need. And they're not all necessarily weighted equally. They kind of shift as they're viewing each of the applications that come in. The applications themselves have a submission, and that submission it's either a project proposal or maybe some sample pages of something that you'd like to work on. And it shows a promise, it shows a promise of what you're working on, what you hope to grow into, maybe taking a course. And then there are a series of narrative responses. Those narrative responses, I would say, are what the most attention is paid to, because those narrative responses are about things like, well, why do you want to write for children and teens? What connects you to this mission of writing for children and teens? What are your goals? Is this the only book you ever want to write? And you've been thinking about it for a little bit and you hope you get it finished. Is this, the beginning of a career? Are you mid-career and you need some time away at a personal retreat in order to finally finish this novel and, get the work submitted? And then there are several questions that talk about the specific scholarships. So the question was, if you check multiple scholarships, the only way that would impact the review committee is we're asking you in one of the narratives, if you picked one of those scholarships, can you talk to us a little bit about how you connect to this specific scholarship? So if you pick 10 different scholarships, they're looking, to see like, okay, this is a good fit. It's one more level of information, I think, for the scholarship review committee. I don't think I would use the term hurt in any way. I think we have a really thoughtful scholarship review committee, and any information you provide is just helping them in the decision-making process. So certainly not hurt if you check off 10 different special scholarships and then you provide some narratives about, your connection to those scholarships. That's great.
So the answer is apply.
I think that's the answer to everything right now, right? Please apply. Please apply.
Please apply.
Please apply. Mm-hmm.
Our next question, I'm not sure exactly, but they're talking about travel expenses and if it would affect the possible amount award. I'm not sure if they missed the beginning part where we talk about the fact that we don't offer travel expenses. So I don't know if you just want to repeat that.
There are a few scholarships, and when you read more about the detailed scholarships, that might mention something about travel. And then on the application, apply, we keep saying on the application, there is a checkbox that says, is the cost of travel a consideration for an in-person course for you? Again, we just need to collect information, and we want to be able to support and help the best that we can. One of the things that we ask in the application has to do with financial need. You're offering up as much information as you want to give to us, in that case. If financial need also includes the need for travel, please offer that information up to us so that, we have that, I think, going forward. Typically, you're right, Kat, typically travel is not included in our scholarships, but we want to know if that's an area of need. And of course, that doesn't include if you're applying for one of the scholarships for an online class, you wouldn't need to check that off. But for the personal retreats or for the in-person courses, yeah.
So basically what Allison is saying is just let us know. We have a committee that wants to take as much information as possible. So to make that decision. So please don't be shy. Let us know. We want you to come. basically. Our next question is, for someone deciding between applying for an in-person and online scholarship who is interested in the type of mentorship associated with a class you are describing, what do you recommend? Do you anticipate that future online and in-person courses will have similar opportunities like this?
Definitely. I think what a great question. And I think we're still, as everyone is, trying to catch up a little bit from, pivoting over the last 2 years. So not all of our courses are listed on the website. Typically for online workshops, we try and get them listed between 2 and 3 months. And for on-site or in-person courses, we try and get them listed somewhere between 4 and 6 months ahead of time. And so as you're looking on the website, you might say, wow, it looks like they come to a pretty hard stop at May. Well, we're getting ready then to launch the next set of courses. I think you'll see many similar offerings. You'll see some nuanced courses come up too, as we're trying, like one of them that is listed in May, is called Intro to Short Stories. So that's a course. We might not have a full 6-week course in that, but that's one that we'd like to try out because I do feel that there's a lot of interest in short stories. Let's see, with a short online course. There's a course coming on about diary comics, which intersects with memoir. I think memoir is such a great space to start looking at education in, but we're going to launch this online class to see what kind of interest we have before maybe building a longer class in that. And that's just to say, yes, we will continue to add courses. What I love about the new scholarship program is you get the, award, the funding, and then decide how you want to apply it. And so if it's a course that's happened in the past and you're wondering if it's going to happen in 2023, send us an email. Are you planning on having line editing again? Yep. We are. Are you planning on doing the whole novel? Certainly we are. So we can offer that information. Again, I know Rona put her contact information in the chat already, but Rona is a great person to reach out to and say, I'm really interested in this class. Can you tell me if it's coming up, even if it's not quite listed yet?
Perfect. Somebody else also asked how we would define goal projects and how many illustration samples should illustrators give?
Sure. So I'm going to separate those two, if that's all right. So the illustrators, the illustrations needed for illustrators, I think right now I would have to click through it, but I think we say three to 5 examples. We also offer just drop a link to your digital portfolio, which is always helpful. If you don't have a digital portfolio, but you have a website, that's helpful. If you don't have a digital portfolio or website, or you have an Instagram where you're keeping up with, certain things, drop that link in, make it the best and easiest way for you. And I would say too, just like with writing samples that come in, we're not looking for finished art. Certainly, if you have a finished piece that you would like to include as part of your submission, do it. But also know we're looking at investing in you as the storyteller, and that has to do with where you are at a certain stage. If you submit something and talk about your submission and say, my goal for the next 12 months on this project is to get all final art. Right now you can see I'm in drafting stage and I'm using graphite, but my plan is to scan it and then finish it digitally. And I'd like to learn more about how to do that. Well, right away, that puts us in a mind frame when we're looking at that submission of saying, wow, look at the potential of this project, where it is right now with graphite, the work that they have on their website. And this is a great example of how we can help support this storyteller by giving them a scholarship, and they can use it toward a workshop that will help them, finish it digitally. So it doesn't have to be polished final work. It's showing potential, and you have the opportunity, like I said before, those narratives are really important to the review committee. Explain those goals, explain your project, talk to us about what you're submitting. Maybe that does answer the second one?
I think so. And then our next question actually is pretty much the same question about how many illustrations we need. Oh, I think a new one oh no. That was just answered.
Okay.
Let's see. Someone did ask, how long on average are personal retreats?
Oh, so on average, personal retreats as they're related to scholarships, or do you think personal retreats in general?
I think related to scholarships, but also I would answer in general.
Okay, so first of all, I can't I can't state strongly enough how excited I am that there are funds reserved for personal retreats as a part of our scholarship program. This is something really new to us on, a broad level. We've had some named scholarships that have offered this, but a personal retreat is just that. It is not connected to anything but you as a person, as the storyteller. So you come with your own goals, you get away, and you have time to create, time to, walk around in the woods, take a nap if you need to, and, really work on your stories. So the personal retreats typically run about 3 nights, 4 days. Often people will come in on, let's say, a Thursday, and they'll leave on a Sunday. That's usually about how they flow. As they're related to the scholarships, when you select a personal retreat as the option that you're applying for, you can put in the notation kind of what you're looking for. Again, goals is one of the questions that comes up. And if it's, I need a week to get this completed. But if you're applying for certain scholarships, you'll see that some of the scholarships note a 1 week personal retreat, a 3-night personal retreat. So you'll actually see that in the notations in the application that you're doing. And I would say that even if, let's say, you apply for one of the scholarships that's for 3 nights and 4 days for a retreat, and you would want to add on, you could add that on at whatever the cost is for a night. I think it's $160 a night, maybe $169 a night. I would have to look that up, or someone on the call might know that answer as well. But
our next question, I really like this one. What if a person has been lucky enough to participate in a workshop already? Can they still apply for a scholarship?
Oh, so first of all, if someone's been lucky enough to participate in a workshop already, the answer, of course, is yes, come back. If someone has already received a scholarship, even this year, so yes, we are starting our scholarship window right now, but we've been giving scholarships to scholarship applicants from the start of the program year. So January 1, we've been giving funds to workshops throughout. So we've still had scholarships all along the way. Maybe you attended a workshop in February and you received a scholarship for that. You can still apply with this scholarship window for a few reasons. One being, this is paying it to you, the storyteller, and saying use it in 2022, 2023. So maybe you don't want to come. And two, always part of the scholarship application is, have you ever received support from the Highlights Foundation before? Oftentimes people will, they're showing their seriousness of purpose. If you think back to those criteria, they're saying, I'm still not at the the spot where I need to be. I need your support to help get there. I need this next class. And so they might be applying for another scholarship because they need that. Now, within this scholarship window, though, you are just applying once. You're sending one application in during this scholarship window. So even if you attended a workshop in February, now you're applying in this scholarship window. You'll just note that you've received scholarship funds in the past, and then kind of move on from there.
So I don't see any more questions coming in from our friends that are here. So if anyone has any last minute ones, I encourage you to drop them into the Q&A box. I just like to point out Allison, which you know, but not all our friends know, is that I was a scholarship recipient in 2018. Soon after I graduated from my MFA program, I was sort of lost and didn't know because my school community sort of disappeared as we finished the program, and I was a little lost. And I had a friend of mine who had been to the Highlights Foundation encouraged me to apply to a scholarship, and I always like to say that that scholarship changed my life. And I showed up in July of 2018 and never left. So I really, really, truly encourage you all to apply. That scholarship meant everything to me. I think I cried for 20 minutes after I got the email, and was able to go and met so many amazing people. And then that sort of translated into me finding my place again in the Kit Lit world, because again, when I finished my program, it just sort of disappeared and I didn't know which way to turn. I was in this program, in this rhythm for 2 years, and then lost that. So when I got that scholarship, truly I found my place again. So I'm just very, very grateful to the Highlights Foundation for that scholarship.
Because maybe people who are applying should know how life-changing it is. You had that experience. I had the same experience. I applied for a scholarship in 2006 and I never left then after that. So 2018, and we have a little bit of history there. Yeah, I've often said that, Kat, especially right now, people have been asking about, like, did you always know you wanted to be a writer? For me, I didn't always know I wanted to be a writer. I didn't even think it was within my reach, but I always wanted to be a teacher. And when I was working with kids and reading alongside kids, and I was like, this Kidlit thing is serious and I want to be a part of this. And I wrote with them and I read with them. And I got involved in 2 organizations, one being the National Writing Project, which is professional development for teachers. And the other, by happenstance, was the Highlights Foundation. And both of those organizations completely changed my life. How lucky are we, that happened, that
The luckiest.
we're together.
So I have this next question that I don't know if you want to answer or I want to answer. Ooh. But it says, do personal retreats include meals?
Oh, I want you to answer that.
Well, Sandra, thank you for asking this question. It includes breakfast, lunch, and dinner, unlimited snacks, unlimited drinks, coffee or sodas, and alcohol as well, which includes wine or beer. So we just want you to show up and create everything that you would normally have to do, like cook, like clean, like all those things are taken care of. So please, please, please apply. And come create. That's what we're here to do for you. And all the meals are delicious. And bring stretchy pants because you'll be eating so much yummy food. Our next question actually came in about income. It says, for financial need, do you need to count your income or your spouse's?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I've told you those three the 3 things that we're really looking for: talent, seriousness of purpose, and financial need. Really, we ask for 2 line items that have to do with financial need. And the main one is the narrative. I keep talking about that, but offer to us what you would like to offer to us about your financial need. If that is solely you yourself, if that includes your spouse, you know, your circumstances with your income versus having 6 kids in higher education. You know, feel free to tell us as much as or as little as you'd like to about your financial need. It's a narrative for that specific reason.
Our next question is for any of the educator scholarships, can you be a retired educator?
Yes.
Yep. Perfect. Our next question actually is our space fragrance free? And I actually do know for a fact that laundry is all fragrance free. There is no scent in any of that for bedding and such. And air fresheners, we don't use any of that stuff. So yes, I'm happy to jump in and say that it's definitely fragrance free because I did ask that question to our housing staff because I also am sensitive to smells.
Yeah, we have on occasions, and again, I haven't been on campus as much as I had in the past, but I'm looking forward to coming back in the future. We've had situations where, I mean, I think that that is something, again, share with us what you need, because if you're coming for a personal retreat, you can kind of keep to your own space. If you're coming for a workshop, that's something that we can notify people ahead of time. I know specifically in the past, we had a faculty member who had pretty severe migraines that were all, you know, as far as she could tell, fragrance related. And we sent out a note ahead of time, and people were very respectful in coming to the class, and just being aware that someone in the group had a need, and that was fulfilled.
Yeah, just like when you do come, we ask for your dietary needs. Just please feel free to add on if you need anything else or something can be troublesome for you, like a scent. Any last questions from our friends? I'm
This is
just gonna
great.
look at.
There are such nice comments in the chat
I
too. Thank you all
know.
for
Thank
jumping
you
in.
all.
Personal retreats do sound like a dream. I think that absolutely positively sounds wonderful. It'd be great.
I do love a personal retreat, so I've been to highlights. I've had the good fortune of going many, many times for obviously work-related things, but I always say every time I'm there, the magic is still very much alive. So, as someone who's visited so many times, it doesn't go away. So, I can only imagine what it would be like for the first time. So, please apply. I think
Yes,
that's
please.
basically our
Please
mantra.
apply. That's
Our
that's
mantra.
right. Until March 13th. March 13th at 11:59 p.m. We'll be just so focused on watching the numbers come in for applications. We want to reach as many storytellers as possible. So if you yourself would like to apply, please do. And if you know someone, please pass along the word, because we would love to reach as many storytellers as possible.
And we have lots of scholarships. So if you have any questions again on any specific ones, please feel free to reach out to us. Like we mentioned, Rona Sherdan would be happy to take your call and to walk over things in detail if you need assistance. We just want everyone to apply. We just want to grow our highlights family.
Okay.
And I think on that note, we're going to say goodbye.
All right. Well, it was nice to spend some time with you today, Kat.
Thank you, Allison. Always, it's the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. And thank you, Christina and Rona, for dropping some things in the chat too. We loved having you here from our team. And everyone be safe, please.
Bye, everyone. Happy writing.